Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight I've got my very first look at the Tier 4 Russian cruiser, the Kirov. So, let's get down to it. We got our commander Nikolai Kuznetsov. We have Norman Scott and Isoroku Yamamoto as our commander inspirations. We are running Beyond Range, Intuitive, Punch Through, and Fixated, with equilibrium of power because it's kind of, you pretty much have to, right? But anyway, Intuitive is going to be the one that you see that's like Twist and Track, where it gives you the approximate location of the closest enemy ship to you. So keep an eye out for that in the match. Also, we are fully upgraded, as you can see. We are running the extra range booster, and we're running Type 4 camo. For our stats, currently we are at 26,200 hit points. Artillery, we have 180mm guns. You've got 9 of them. Reload time is 13.5 seconds. That is the one downside to this cruiser. That reload time feels fast until you need it to be fast, and then it just feels sluggish as crap. But they are 180mm guns, not 152s, so it is to be expected that they'd be a little bit slow, especially early on in the line. HE shell damage maximum is 2,000, and chance to set on fire is 11%. AP shell damage is 4,305. You've got some secondaries, they're 100mm, and they fire HE, reaching out to 3.8 kilometers. Torpedoes, basically non-existent. They do exist. You have 2 triple launchers, one on either side of the ship. They're 533mm. They do 14,400 maximum damage. They're not the sneakiest torpedoes because they're a bit faster. They are 64 knots, but they only go 4 kilometers. They are suicide torpedoes. That's it. They are defensive in their usage. So, like, if you're behind an island, somebody's chasing you, that's kind of like the only time you're really going to get a chance to use these torpedoes. Maneuverability, maximum speed is 36.6 knots. Turning circle is horrendous at 860 meters. The rudder shift time is 7.8 seconds. Concealment is 11.9, that's not good. Detectability by air is 7.4. Guaranteed is 2 as always, and detectability firing in smoke is 6.5. Sure shot. Shells with good ballistic trajectory maintain velocity, making aiming easier. Big guns. This ship is armed with high-caliber main battery guns. Paper thin. High-caliber shells overpin the armor without armor, causing minimal damage. That is considered a good thing, but at the same time, this ship has no armor. This thing gets shredded by anything that hits it. So keep that in mind. One of the first large warships designed and built in the USSR. Despite her small displacement, she was equipped with very powerful long-range main guns and had good speed. In contrast to the majority of her contemporaries, Kirov had weak armor. She entered service in 1938, and there were 2 of them in the series. So, what do I think of the ship? You'll have to find out when we get to the gameplay, but it's not a bad-looking ship. The camo is pretty horrendous, let's be real, but that's my fault. That isn't the game's fault. I put this camo on. But I like the ship and hate the ship at the same time, and we'll get into that in just a moment. Alrighty, so we are going to be on Haven, and we are top tier, which doesn't happen to me very often, especially in these light cruisers. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to sit here and be like, yeah, this is my first game out, and I absolutely crush it, and blah, 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 blah. No, that's not the way this one went. I have tried over and over and over again to get a video that I felt really demonstrated what these things can do, but at the same time, showcase its weakness as well. And I think this video is going to do that. So, hopefully you guys are ready. We're going to have a fun one. Now, first of all, I got a few things to say. One is, welcome to November. Right? Seems like this year has absolutely flown by. Some might say the opposite, depending on which side of, the craziness you've been on. But it has been an absolutely crazy year. There is no doubt about it. As you can see the little indicator pointing towards the closest ship to us. So that's what I mean by that one perk. Anyway, so I was trying to get a video for you guys, and every single time I jump in this ship, I go out, I have a good start, I get really, really good damage, and die in devastating fashion. Like, absolutely devastating fashion. It's just the way these ships are. They are like all or nothing in the most ridiculous sense of the phrase. Now, what I do like about the Russian cruisers is that they are very, very easy to hit targets with. Like, even faster moving targets, if you're close range, like, it's real easy to hit them. So I do like that aspect of Russian cruisers, but the armor is just non-existent. I mean, I've gone into fights with destroyers, and their HE just rips this thing apart, even as a destroyer. So I've had some issues with these ships. They just don't have the survivability aspect. So you really, as a commander, have to pay attention to what you're doing. Now, I see the destroyer here. Obviously, I'm getting ready to punch the destroyer in the mouth, because, I mean, if he's going to show himself, I'm going to make sure he knows about it. And we don't quite get turned in enough. We missed the first shot. It's kind of a bad play by me. I get my sonar running, detect these torpedoes, and this battleship is literally just going to turn right into these intake torpedoes when he wouldn't have had to. But whatever is what it is. All you can do is try to help people. But as you can see, we're gonna get up there and we're gonna try to finish these guys off. Now, equilibrium of power is a double whammy. One, it increases the HE penetration by 30%, but it also decreases the overall damage of each one of your shells when you're firing HE. So it's a good thing, but at the same time, it can be really bad for you. Now, this Jaguar has nothing he can do about it. Like, he's stuck. We get a very disgusting 3,300 damage salvo, 9 hits out of that salvo. That's pretty nasty. Considering we only have 9 guns, we just hit him 9 times. So that was a full salvo of HE hitting a destroyer. 3,300 damage. Now, Svetlana over here is absolutely begging for it. Like, he has run aground, he's starting to reverse, but he is broadside on and begging for it. Now, at these ranges, even with the thin armor of the Svetlana, I'm going to be able to citadel him with these armor-piercing rounds at these ranges. Now, the closer I get, that becomes a lot more difficult, because they carry a lot more momentum. But as you can see, we get a good citadel right off the bat, take a good third of his health, and he's going to try to get out of there. As we fire again, he's going to start to bow tank us and come in. But just so you guys know, we passed a very special milestone recently. The month of October is the unofficial start of the channel. So this was my 4th year anniversary on YouTube. I've been posting videos every day, mostly, for the last 4 years. Starting with World of Tanks, obviously, and we've had a good run of it all the way until the ridiculous growth that we experienced last year and this year. It's been a fantastic ride, and it's a fun trip down memory lane to go back and look at some of the older clips. I thought about doing a 4 years of Spartan video, but every time I've tried, that video's ended up being like 3 hours long. And so I'm not, capable of editing 3 hours down into something munchable. But if you guys get a chance, maybe go back, look at some of the older videos that I've done, because like I said, before we even played World of Warships Legends, we had 1,400 videos of World of Tanks console on the channel. So there's a lot of content out there if you haven't seen it. But anyway, Svetlana here is showcasing me just why it is so difficult for me to actually citadel at close ranges. We're getting all the penetrations, but they're all overpins. They're all overpins. And that's really, really hurting us. But he's going to get away for now. We managed to avoid the torpedoes. I'm not going to lie. I almost got caught off guard by that. Luckily, he just missed. But he definitely was putting a hurting on me. But you're going to see here, as I'm turning away, the Marblehead and the what is it, the French cruiser starts shooting me, and I have no way to use. I had put out the one fire early, and I am in a bad way because of it. But we get a very good opening salvo of armor piercing against the Marblehead, and we're turning away. We have to disengage at this point. We cannot slug it out. Like I said, these things just don't have any armor. And as soon as the Marblehead gives up the broadside, like, that's just begging for it. And we get our first Citadel. But you can see the Ganget shooting us, the French cruiser shooting us, the Marblehead shooting at us. We need to get away and let them shoot at somebody else for a moment. But Marblehead still giving me the beautiful angle, and this is what gets a lot of people in trouble with Marblehead and Omaha, is that they feel like they have to be broadside on, which makes no sense whatsoever. You get very little extra out of going broadside in a Marblehead or Omaha than you get straight over the bow. You can shoot with 5 guns over the bow of a Marblehead or a Omaha, but everybody wants to go broadside, and that's what gets them in trouble, as we just demonstrated. The Duguay, however, not going to be so lucky. He's down 2. We managed to get out of this fight mostly intact. We have 1,700 hit points left, and we have our second kill of the game. Now, Furry Taco is going to be engaging our destroyer. Notice our Clemson has not put out a smokescreen yet. He's saving that smokescreen for a very special occasion, in which case he's going to get way too close to that Furry Taco. But Furry Taco initially is going to do a very good job of dodging rounds, especially from me. I fire at him, he immediately turns, changes course, tries to avoid him. I'm going to recognize that I'm about to run into the edge of the map and turn out, and this is going to leave me very, very vulnerable. However, because I'm not the first guy in anymore, I've managed to disengage, and everybody's getting shot other than me. Now, if you look at the map right about now, this game is all knotted up. Or at least it looks like it is. You notice the cruiser that I spawned next to hasn't moved yet? Yeah, he's AFK. Regardless whether he's disconnected or whatever, he's AFK. So, can't count on him to defend the base. The 2 destroyers that are left, they were last seen over by our base. Which means somebody needs to get back and defend the base. And that's what I'm going to be doing. We have a destroyer here, we have a battleship here, there is 1 battleship and 1 cruiser here. We know where everybody's at-ish. So as long as we're not going to be dumb, we can finish this game on a good note and carry our team to a victory. Now, Furry Taco, now it goes completely broadside. He's got to try to avoid the torpedoes. The battleship chunks him pretty hard, and that's leaving him absolutely juicy for my armor piercing. And just as we fire, he starts to turn in, but it's not quite quick enough as we get some more penetration. Actually, overpins on him. And that's one of the problems with these guns, is they just overpin everything. They literally overpin everything with the armor piercing, especially cruisers. But it gets really good penetration through the front of the ships as well, and allows us to take them down. So we get our 3rd kill of the game. Now, we know that the closest ship to us is the battleship, and we know, according to our indicator, that he is about at our 11 o'clock. And now he would be at our 12 o'clock. But we're going to turn back and disengage and go all the way back across. You can see this is about the point where I realize, oh my god, we need to defend the base. This guy here actually says defend the base. And so that's what I'm going to do. I always harp on other people when I say they should do something and they don't. And I'm like, well, that lost us the game. Well, in this instance, we have 2 people going towards the enemy base to engage 1 battleship. And so one of us should break off. Now, I was expecting the battleship to come around this side of the island. But as you can see with the indicator, he's not actually coming around this island. He's actually turned all the way back around and going back into his base to defend his base. So a lot of good plays were made in this game. And at the end of the day, this match came down to 1 person in particular getting left alone just long enough to absolutely wreck the enemy team. That person is me. I threw all my hit points away in that engagement versus the French cruiser and the Marblehead because of a misused damage control. Okay? So because of that, I lost all my health. I don't have a heal. okay? So that's the one downside of low-tier cruisers, is that they don't have the heals. So when you make those kinds of mistakes, it hurts. It sticks. And 1,700 hit points to take on 2 gunboat destroyers? That's a stretch, especially in a ship that doesn't have any armor. So, as you can see, we know where the Ganget is, and our indicator is not pointing at the Ganget, which proves to you that there is a destroyer in the near future, and he's on this side of the island in front of me. Not necessarily the little island, but the bigger island that's right next to the base. So we are going to charge him down. Now, destroyers. I know that it is terrifying to engage a cruiser in a gunfight. However, if you see a cruiser, especially a light cruiser, that is low health, it is in your best interest to shoot him back. Because if not, what you're about to witness is exactly what happens to you. Now, we get him spotted, we're pushing in, Clemson is trying to launch torpedoes. It's clear as day to anybody with half a brain, and we finish him in 2 salvos. 2 salvos. We only had 1,700 hit points. He could have finished us off. He loads much quicker than us. He could have loaded 3 or 4 salvos in the time it took us to load our 2. So that's where you really need to know what you're fighting, and looking at their health and judging based on that. It's like trying to launch torps against destroyers. I see so many torpedo ships launching torpedoes at one another, and the Ganget takes out our Clemson. Not that surprising, but at the same time, big win for them. We still have the lead. So it's not really that big a deal. Now, I am going to engage the Ganget, try to set some fires, hopefully get some fires on him. Unfortunately, I don't think I ever get a fire on this guy. Like, it just refuses to set a fire. It's hard enough to hit him because, as you can see, we're kind of painting the entire grid that he's in by the time that the shells are landing at this range. But we're getting some hits, and the hits that we're getting are doing a little bit of damage. 600-700 damage each time we hit him. And you can see that now I'm detected, it's time for me to engage the destroyer. It's pretty obvious that there's a destroyer straight ahead. He just got into our base, which means I need to get up here and defend. Now, as soon as he sees me drop contact with his battleship and turn around to try to engage him, he's going to get out of the cap. And because I know exactly where, well, not exactly, but I got a very good idea of where he's at, you can see I'm already ready with my guns in the right position. This is a huge advantage. And as you can see, first shot out, we take 2,000 health off of him. And once again, he is refusing to use his guns to shoot me. And he's down really quickly. Now, that guy only had 1 chance to shoot me, but that gives us our Kraken Unleashed. Now, we have just under a minute and a half left, and we have a decided lead. So now, if that battleship on my team dies, we still have the advantage, because it's only a 90-point swing to lose a battleship. It's 45 against your team and 45 for the enemy team. So, it's very, very close, but we still have the advantage. I say that. I think if he killed that battleship, he would actually win this match. But, luckily for us, that battleship hasn't taken any damage until this engagement. So between the two of them, they're literally just slugging it out, one way or the other. And this Ganget has put himself in a really rough position, being up against that island. I'm shooting at him now. The friendly battleship obviously has a pretty good shot at him, if I had to guess. And there's another good chunk off of him by our Wyoming. And you can see that we're just trying to, at this point, we know the game's over, 20 seconds left. Are we going to be able to get him? I don't think so. We're just not going to be able to finish this Ganget off. He's going to survive. He played a pretty decent game as far as being able to try to defend the base. But in the end, me going back to defend our base was what won this match for us. And the enemy destroyers' refusal to use their guns. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed. We finally get the Kirov checked off of our Meet the List. And I think we had a pretty solid game. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. But, come on, skip the formalities, Spartan. 81,000 damage, Kraken Unleashed, Confederate, high caliber, in a tier 4 light cruiser. Not bad. So if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.